Hello and a very good morning, dear students. I welcome you back after our summer breaks. In the month of April, we all have done with lesson number 1 of history. Now I will start with civics in this particular session. So before we actually begin with our lesson, just think, what is civics? So civics can be said as the social and political life, or it can be defined as the study of the rights and duties of citizens. Let us begin our lesson. So we'll start with unit 1, which is equality in Indian democracy. Under that we are going to deal with the chapter on equality. Let's start with our topic. So a question that I pose in front of you is, what is equality? So when you hear the word equality, what things come to your mind? Just give a thought. These are some examples for you. In the first set of pictures, we see a girl, a boy, a lady, and a gentleman, right? The next set of pictures, we have a person who follows Sikhism, a girl who follows Islam, and finally a girl or a lady who follows Hinduism. In the last set of pictures, we see a person whose skin color is dark and a woman whose skin color is fair. Now, if you just look at the pictures, you can see that there are some is equal to signs put in between. So, are you wondering why these signs have been put? Yes. So, the answer for your thinking is the girl or boy, maybe you are of any age group, you are a male, you are a female. You may be following any religion, you follow different cultural and traditional beliefs. Whatever is your skin color, whatever is your financial condition, we all are same, right? Is equal to sign means we all are similar. We all have the same status in the society. Is that clear? Let us move to the next part of this topic. So here is the definition for you all. An ideal state where no kind of discrimination or inequalities exist is known as equality. So can you see the picture that is coming up? Yes, so that is our Parliament House. As we are talking about democracy, I thought this would be a better picture for you all. So in the last year's civics textbook, we had learnt about equality being a key feature or a key element of democratic country. So yes, equality is one of the important pillars of democracy. And why do we say that equality is so important? So these are some reasons for it. The first one, it is the basic human right. Yes, we all have certain basic rights, and so we say that equality is very important. We all should be treated equally in the society. That is the basic right. The next we have, it helps in the wholesome development of every individual. Now when we have equal status or equality given to all or similar opportunities, equal opportunities, there will be a proper development of every individual. And there is no partiality being done in those processes. Only then we can say that the development is happening correctly. And finally we have, as we are a democratic and a secular country, it is very important, as we have people coming from different communities, different religions, different states, having different financial status. So everyone should be given some equal rights for their own development and for their own good condition in the society. So in this chapter, we will learn about equality. What is it exactly? And why is it very important in a democracy? So the first story that I tell you about equality, or what do you mean by equality? Here it goes. It is a story on the day of election. So Kanta and her friend Sujata, who work as maids in different houses, are standing in a queue to cast their vote. So as they're standing in a queue, Kanta notices that Jain Sahib, her employer, is also standing in the same line and she feels very happy. And she also expresses her happiness to Sujata by saying, "Look, Sujata, Jain Sahib is also standing in the same queue. So he is also equally treated while casting the vote." And she is really very happy. And now it's her turn to go and cast her vote. So once she enters that booth, she thinks, "Oh, whom to give my vote?" And then she remembers and recollects that during the campaigning time, a candidate had promised to give a proper water supply through pipeline. So she thinks that it is the better option and she completes her voting process and comes out. So as she is moving towards her house, she finds that Mr. and Mrs. Jain are also moving towards their house. She waves them off and Kanta Sujata start walking. Meanwhile, Kanta shares that her daughter is not well, but taking her to the hospital is not possible until evening. So she tells Sujata that I'll rush home as I have to complete the work at Sahib's place and ask for the advance and then take my daughter to the hospital. Meanwhile, Kanta reaches her house, comforts her daughter by giving her some water and telling her, "Please take rest. I will be back soon and then we will go to the hospital." And she rushes towards Sahib's home. As she is moving through the basti, she finds that the basti is very unhygienic and it is very unclean. And then she thinks, yes, this is the reason why my Gudiya is falling ill frequently. And with this thought, she moves to Sahib's house. She is cleaning the house, and yes, Mrs. Jain is continuously instructing her, "Please clean from that corner, take from the walls aside, the tile should be clean," and so many instructions Mrs. Jain is giving her. Right? Same way. Our mothers also do that. We also tell sometimes to our maid that please clean that side, it is not getting cleaned or it is very dirty. After completing her work, Mrs. Jain hands over Kanta the advance that Kanta had asked and also reminds Kanta, "Kanta, don't make this a habit." Kanta moves home. Hurriedly, she carries her daughter and she moves towards the hospital. Now, Kanta is standing in the long queue of the hospital and she's comforting her daughter and says that, "My dear child, please don't worry. Soon our turn will be there and the doctor will examine you. He'll treat you and he'll give you the medicines." And a thought strikes her mind again. She's wondering, in the morning when I was standing in the queue for casting my vote, even Jain Sahab was there. Though being a rich person, he was standing in the same queue with us. But then, if their children are unwell, they are not required to stand in such a long queue. And then she keeps on thinking on that question. So I also leave you with the question now to think over what would what would be the next thoughts that would have come to Kanta's mind, and what do you understand by this story, right? So till we meet for the next time, just keep thinking about what did the story tell us. Fine. So thank you everyone. Have a nice day and stay safe.